Hey there, folks. So I had kind of a funny thing happen, and I thought people might find it interesting. So I've been using this gun. This particular gun is new. Upper and lower are both relatively new. I think maybe I've fired 3,000 rounds on it in total. The other day, during training, the safety locked in the fire position. Now, it's since been fixed, but at the time, the safety locked. It was up in fire, and, you know, put the switch, I'm reefing on the switch pretty hard, and man, this thing was only staying in fire. So this situation was a first for me to have happen on my gun, and I was pretty curious about it. So what all happened? Well, I was shooting the gun during training, as you can see, and I think this matters. Suppressor attached. The gun's got about 3,000 rounds on it in total, a couple thousand FMJ, and about 1,000 rounds fired with the suppressor on. And that ammunition that I fired was not normal FMJ. It was this frangible ammunition. So if you're not aware, frangibles commonly used for training in maybe military or law enforcement applications. It's well, I guess safer is the word for it. You can shoot steel with it at close range, and you're not going to have the spalling come back. I mean, if you're not aware, frangible ammunition is not lead with a copper jacket. It's going to be some other sort of composite. I think this one's mostly copper. And when you shoot it, it just powders. It just powders out, and there's not that heavy lead core. And then the jacket that's going to separate from the core. So for training, franges, it's nice. It's safer. You're going to have less issues that way. But interestingly, I think my safety locking up on me was caused by the frangible ammo. How is that? Well, that powder that it turns into, I mean, I think some of it powders when you're shooting it, and the guns get way dirtier way faster. When you're shooting frange, you throw a suppressor in the mix, then the gun gets really, really dirty really, really fast. And in this case, it took about 1,000 rounds of frange, and there was enough of that powder built up on the safety detent that you couldn't move the safety switch anymore. Now, that struck me as kind of weird. The guys that I was shooting with, they didn't have this issue. They were shooting different rifles, but after a few hundred rounds, their rifles wouldn't send the bolt home anymore. So they had issues. They were just different. In my case, the safety locked up, and the detent had to be taken out and cleaned off real nicely, and then the gun put back together, and it ran just fine. I was curious about this. I was like, man, I wonder like how often this kind of thing happens, and I put it in a group chat. Mike Pannone reported that he did one course where 2/3 of the rifles that they were using locked up in exactly the same way. Like the safety, you couldn't actuate it anymore because of the buildup inside of around the detent. So I thought that was an interesting thing that happened. I mean, it didn't really surprise me, but it was the first time it's happened to me. And as Pannone confirmed, like, oh yeah, that's a thing that can happen. What's the lesson in this? I don't know. Not really. It's just there's not really much of a lesson. If you shoot frange, like a lot of guys don't like shooting frange for this reason, because it definitely oftentimes gets things dirtier faster and stuff like that. But I don't mind using frange if it's going to save me from having jacket getting stuck in my face and stuff like that. So there you go. An interesting thing happened. My safety locked up, and I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen again, but it probably will.